good to talk to you. I'm excited to talk about your EP coming up. You kind of teased it when I interviewed you 2 years ago. I guess, can you get into the journey of how long you've been working on this, putting this together?
Yeah, for sure. When the pandemic hit, and I was sort of scrambling to figure out what I was going to do, had a couple of cool touring opportunities that year, and those went away, and I didn't know what I was, going to do for income and to get through the year for work. So I ended up starting a Patreon community, which has turned out to be the coolest thing I've ever done, because I've found how much I enjoy not touring and being able to work in the studio and just constantly be creating. So I'm super grateful to everyone who's been a part of that and been, supporting me. But when I first started it, one of the main sort of perks, I guess you call it, was to get a new song every month. So for the first 4 months of the Patreon, the first 4 months I had the Patreon going, I gave them a new composition every month, and those are the 4 songs on the EP that have lyrics to them. I had no idea I was going to release them later. It kind of had I kind of said exclusive with a disclaimer, like, you guys are going to have these songs for a long time before anyone else does, because I don't know if I'm ever going to release them or not, but someday I might, and so last summer, that a year later, just kind of got the itch to start looking into maybe releasing the songs, and recorded a 5th track, which is the opening song, which is a nice long 6-minute instrumental piece.
It's great.
And Equal Vision Records came to the table and wanted to be a part of the release, which is super cool. They're very much on board with what I'm trying to do with it. Kind of heading in the direction of film and television sync and composition and stuff. So it was kind of just, it was really laid back. It wasn't like I'm making a new record. It just kind of all fell into place, and I had the material, and so it was kind of a why not put it out and see what happens.
Well, it's definitely a big musical journey for you. I mean, I think fans from Yellowcard might be like, oh, what is this? But I think people have been following you. You've been kind of taking even some old songs and turning into like this style, Is this like kind of like, you're nervous at all, or are you just like, oh, whatever, I like this,
No, I think as you said, people who have stayed interested in what I'm doing since the band broke up, it's been sort of a natural progression that they've been able to listen to and watch and hear as it evolved. But I hope that when people hear this, if it's a fan of Yellowcard, that this wouldn't be something that they would normally put in there, on a playlist or this style of kind of more ambient electronic music. I hope that it just opens people's minds a little bit to trying something new. It happened to me 12 plus years ago now, when I was handed a John Hopkins record called Immunity. He's now like one of my all-time favorite artists, and opened the door to all kinds of music that I had no idea I was ever going to be interested in. So not to compare myself to John Hopkins, because he's like an absolute pioneer of production and electronic music, but I hope it has the Hopkins effect on people, where you hear it and it is so different from what you've heard from me before, or something, or even just what you've listened to before, that maybe it piques your interest in exploring some more ambient and electronic music, because that's just it's what I love. It's what I listen to. It would be odd for me to make a rock and roll record now. I just it's so not a part of my my daily listening. It's just,
we all kind of evolve over time. We're all older, so it happens.
For sure.
Like for me, in my older age, I'm really into meditation and stuff. And honestly, your first track, The Swim Back, it's actually the first perfect track for me to meditate to in the morning. And then when halfway through, when the drum beat comes in, I go like, okay, I'm ready to start my day and get my coffee. It's like,
dude, I love that. A lot of this EP was born from meditation, man. During the pandemic, it's funny. The first month of call it like March 1st when it doomsday hit. I was living in California again, I had moved back to Los Angeles in late 2019 for the first time. I had been in Nashville for about 5 or 6 years, and I went back to LA to start working with Ryan Mendez from Yellowcard, who I work on a lot of music with still. My sister lives there with my niece and nephew. It just kind of felt like I wanted to give it another try. Ended up being a unmitigated disaster because of the pandemic and not being able to work that year, and it's so expensive to live out there.
Paying an arm and a leg to live there,
yeah. So it was a really scary time, but and it all worked out. I ended up figuring out what my next step was, and it, led me back to Nashville and everything I'm doing now, and it's all good. But when it first hit, I had a really, really good, one of my closest friends, lifelong friend. He's an actor, and he was in Bulgaria shooting a show that he's been on for a few seasons now, and he was kind of stopping over in LA for a week. I think it was gonna be about 10 days before he was then gonna go to New York and rent an apartment and start trying to do some theater and stuff again. Well, when he came to LA, it was like, hey dude, can I crash with you? I've got some stuff to tie up here in LA, and just before I go back to New York. Sure, of course you can. So he comes to my house and then is stuck in my house because LA was, everywhere was locked down, but LA was locked down. It was, the 405 freeway at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the pictures of it's creepy. It looks like
I lived in
zombie
California
movie
for 15 years. So that was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So my friend Patrick ends up, staying, we're in my house, fully quarantined, just the two of us for a full month. And he's very, very, educated and involved in mental health and meditation and stuff. And so during that time, he was like, just humor me and just try this with me. I do it every day. Just do it with me. It's 10 minutes a day. Just sit down with me and do this. And so in March of 2020, I started meditating for the first time in my life. And I left LA. I ended up going back to Florida for about 8 months to my hometown, and living there while I kind of pressed reset and figured out what I was going to do next. But I started meditating every day, and then I started, after a couple of months of getting out of my own head about what am I going to do? How am I going to survive this? How am I going to work? The meditation started to work. I started to, those negative thoughts sort of stopped permeating every day, everything I was thinking. I started to get excited about making music. Everything about the sound of this record, was born from, I think, starting to practice meditation. So hearing you directly reference that is really fucking cool.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I was kind of, when I first listened to it, I was like, well, I hope it stays instrumental, because I'm really digging this. So
yeah.
Was there ever going to be a part of adding lyrics to that, or just always was going to be?
No, because can't talk. I had those four, the first 4 songs that I did for Patreon, were a year old at that point. And when the decision came to look into releasing them, I deliberately was like, I want to make an instrumental opening to this. I want to further sort of expose listeners to where I am and what I'm interested in, and what I'm excited about creating. So that song was just so fun. It's one of those songs where I was just like, R2D2 beeps on the key, beep, 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 just like pressing and turning knobs and making sounds. It's I love it, man. It's just such a fun, exciting way to be creative, to make music in this space that I'm working in now. I just love it.
Yeah, we'll get into your Star Wars podcast in a second. You mentioned R2D2, but I want to stay with the EP a little more. Face in the Frame, great song. I love the animated video you did. Who did
Thank
it?
you.
And did you give come up with a concept, or kind of just told the animator do whatever?
I want to make sure every time I do this that I pronounce it right.
Yeah.
Okay. The artist, the company, his company is Scene Film, SEEN Film, I believe out of Italy. And the artist is Stefano Bertelli. And I think the way it went down was my manager, Andy Snape, who works, he's a manager at Raw Power Management. And he's super, super close friend, such a killer relationship to have with a manager when they can really be someone that you absolutely enjoy spending time with. We do a lot of social stuff together. It's almost no business. It's all friendship. I love it. And I think Raw Power sort of got a cold call email. I could be wrong. I could be remembering this story wrong, but I think this is what happened. Sort of a cold call email like, hey, we do these videos. Would any of your artists be interested? And I've been so vocal about not wanting to do videos that are like me in the video. Like I want to start doing more visual accompaniment style stuff with how strongly I feel about steering my career into film and television composition. Like I want to start adding visuals to my music. So Andy was just like, dude, this is too good to be true. Like this is exactly what we need at exactly the right time. So he wrote them back and sent them the track. And Stefano came up with the whole concept and everything with the deer and the wolves and the light at the end of the tunnel at the end and all that was all him. And Equal Vision was super excited about it. I'm putting this EP out on a label for the first time. And they were super excited about it and supported it and made the video for me. So super grateful for all of it. Yeah.
I mentioned
it has almost 100,000 views on YouTube. It's crazy.
And it matches music perfectly, I feel like too, you know?
Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Is it a big deal that you're on Equal Vision Records? I feel like it's really cool. I mean, like
it's so cool, man.
A lot of them, you know?
100%. I said when I kind of went through doing the updated bio for all of this for a new release, you know, I talked about how I can so clearly remember the day in 1999 when I went to CD Connection in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, and bought Saves the Day Through Being Cool, which is just such a huge record for me at that time in my life. And so to see my music now, you know, I have a vinyl record with an Equal Vision imprint on it. It's such a cool feeling. I have chills right now just saying that. My hair's standing up. It's such a cool thing. And you know, another thing that's been really cool about working with them is when we first started talking with them, I kind of mentioned to them, you know, I'm not looking to tour at all. Like I've really found a way to stay in rhythm and work at home and pop out and do like a private show here or there. And, you know, kind of use shows more for kind of strictly income-based stuff as opposed to like part of my creative process. Right. So
gotcha.
I mentioned that to them and they were like, dude, we love it. It's all good. We haven't really done anything like this where what you're doing is so geared towards, you know, sync and television placement and playlisting. And it's a kind of a different style of like working a record, and we're excited about doing it. So normally, you know, a label is like, well, okay, well, when are you getting on the road to go out and promote the record? And it's just, so it's a very different experience, but the fact that they were so open to trying something new, both sonically, I think, and marketing wise, is really cool.
I dig it. You said you're not really doing like a full tour for this. You are doing, I think, was it the Emo Not Dead cruise? I think it's coming up. I mean,
yeah, but I mean,
like a full band, or it's just you performing?
No. I think one of the things I'm doing on the cruise is like a round, like a bunch of us sitting there playing together, and then I'm doing another show that's like just me and acoustic guitar. But I mean, I would get, you know, thrown off the boat if I didn't play Yellowcard songs at that show. So that's the plan for that. And as I said, I'm still doing that every once in a while, and I do enjoy it. I mean, if someone wants to book me for something, I went to New Jersey a week or so ago and played, you know, a private show for a guy booked me for his wife's birthday, and it was super, super cool. Like he owns a small little venue in Jersey, super cool, really nice venue. And I just, you know, I got up and banged out Yellowcard songs for them because I think that's, obviously I know how special that is to people still. And it's also a way, as I said, for me to make some money and keep being able to focus on trying to get into scoring. So. But
you never want to try to perform these songs live, though, or maybe,
I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Okay.
A full tour, probably not in the cards. It's just like the risk
maybe
reward
like music
of
festival
that.
calls you up and be like, hey, can you come perform
Exactly.
here?
And I have one. I have a festival coming up in May where I think there's only 8 artists on the bill, and Fits and the Tantrums is headlining. So it's the first show for me that is sort of in that new world for me, you know what I mean? Like outside of Warped Tour and the genre and space that Yellowcard lived in, this will be the first thing I've ever really done on a bill like that. So I think getting up there and banging out Yellowcard songs is probably not the move. And I think being able to display these tracks to people for hearing me as an artist for the first time, which will probably be the case for almost everyone there, I would love to be able to put this on somehow as a show. The trick is, it's obviously going to be so track heavy, you know, if it's just me, right? So I have to do some research and figure out how I can incorporate, live elements into the tracks and be performing and singing and make it make it work, make it feel like I'm connected and not just pressing play on the laptop and singing along. I need to do a little bit of research.
I can see it doing well with like visual elements or something. If you can create something to that, that'd be
for sure.
I feel
so I'm going to try, I have some time. The show's not until May, so I have some time to figure it out. And I think it'll be a good test run if we do it and it goes well. And then there's some more festivals we could get out and try to play. If the show works, then I would be interested in doing it for sure.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into your podcast, Thank the Maker. You got Nick from Bayside and Adam from A Story to Year. You guys break down Star Wars. You've been doing all the episodes for the Book of Boba, which is great. For those who don't know about it, I guess explain how they got all put together,
Yeah, for sure. Today is actually our 100th episode dropped today on February 3rd. So it's been 2 years since we've been doing the podcast. It's absolutely crazy. Adam and I, we've been friends for a long time. Obviously, Story of the Year and Yellowcard toured with each other all the way back to 2003, probably. Our Ocean Avenue and Page Avenue came out the same summer, a month apart. And what's great about this story, man, is we actually had kind of, for lack of a better word, like beef between the two bands back then. I think Yellowcard was coming out of this Jacksonville, Florida scene of the mid 90s sort of second wave of punk with NoFX and Lagwagon and No Use for a Name, and a lot of that. Those were the bands we came up on, and I think we were a little jaded towards some of the like heavier screamy stuff that was happening in the early 2000s, and it just was stupid. It was stupid kids being stupid, and so we had this sort of unspoken disagreement between the two bands. It never like came to blows or anything, but I think there was just a lot of Warped Tour around the tents backstage crap talk going on, and that lasted for a while, and I don't remember what year it was, but I believe it was sort of during the time when Yellowcard was on hiatus or whatever we're calling it, from like 2008 to 11. I went to a Story of the Year show with I was deliberately going to try to get a chance to sit down with them and just apologize and have a conversation, and so I did. I got on the bus and I just was like, hey, can you guys give me like 5 minutes to just let it out, and I just I did. I just apologized. I was like, I don't know what that was about. I was not the best version of myself back then, and I love you guys, and I actually love your music now. Like it's it's just a totally different time in my life, and so it's funny because at somewhere around the same time, I don't know if it was even like at that show that Adam was like after the show, like shirtless on the bus or whatever, and I noticed his X-Wing tattoos. He has like where you would get sparrows tattooed on your chest, like the classic, 2 sparrows on the chest. He has X-Wings instead. And I noticed those, and I was like, Star Wars, huh? And we just got talking. So that's back in 2008 or 9 or something. Then we did a Soundwave festival in Australia together, and that's when we really connected, both the bands, not just me and Adam. We had so much fun together on that tour, Yellowcard and Story of the Year, and built a relationship that's lasted through the years now. And it's just so cool that we started where we started and ended up where we are now. I love all those dudes so much, and genuinely consider them my friends. And so Adam, in 2000, when he knew the band was ending, when he knew Yellowcard was ending, kind of was hammering like, we should do a podcast together. We should do I think he was just really interested and excited about getting into the world of podcasting. And that led us to recording our first episode of Thank the Maker. We ran through a lot of ideas. We were going to do like a more sort of broad sweeping pop culture podcast. Eventually we narrowed it down to thinking maybe it would be better to do so, to have it be more focused and concise. And that led us to Star Wars and our love of Star Wars that we share. And so we dropped our first episode, which is sort of just like an intro. Hi, I'm Ryan, and I'm Adam, and this is what we're here to talk about. And a few months later in California, going to Galaxy's Edge together for the first time. And Nick Gambarian from Bayside lives in Orange, California, right around the corner from Disneyland. So we were in the process at that time of reaching out to different artists that we knew, whether we knew directly or we knew their managers or however we could get guests on the show. So we knew that Nick was a huge Star Wars fan, and Yellowcard and Bayside have the same manager. So I hit him up. Can we do an interview with Nick? He was like, sure, come over to the house. We'll do it. So we went over there. We covered Solo, the film with Nick on the pod, and got in the car to leave. And like, there was just, it was like an unspoken force. The force was strong, dude. We were like,
yeah,
we were like, that was amazing. And he should be on the show, right? Like that we should ask him if he wants to be on the show full time. And that's how Nick came to be the triad. You know, we created the triad in the force that day. And here we are 100 episodes in, man. We're having a blast. We're
the podcast is a lot of fun. I would say another thing is I like just following your Instagram. I don't know who makes all your content for the Instagram, but it's really fun.
Adam does it all. He's killing it. Yeah, he's had a couple of them go pretty viral, man. He's had a couple of them really, really take off. This year is really exciting. We're 1 month today from going on the Galactic Star Cruiser voyage in Disney World. We're going to be on the second ever voyage, so we're pretty confident we're going to be the first podcast to cover it in the Star Wars podcast space. And then we're going to Celebration. We're fingers crossed we're getting on the panel. We're getting our own panel at Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and, I'll be at Celebration. So
yeah, cool. Well, we're also going to do like a Star Wars inspired emo night at Chain Reaction too, around Celebration.
No way. All right.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. I'm trying to get us over to my buddy Jamie runs a big Comic-Con in Wales Comic-Con in the UK. So trying to get us over there for that so we can have a panel at the Wales Comic-Con. It's starting to happen, man. We're having a lot of fun with it.
Cool. Well, I really hope the Chain Reaction event happens. I'll definitely be there up front.
It's already booked.
You know?
It's already booked.
Okay, cool.
It's happening. Costumes required.
Oh yeah. I got my Kylo Ren one I'll bring. So
all right, sweet.
Awesome, man. Well, everyone check out the podcast. Thank the Maker. It's basically everywhere podcasts are available.
Yep.
And your EP drops February 11th. Everything Excepted Desire on Equal Vision Records. You can go to your website, williamryankey.com. There's a bunch of merch you can buy. It looks like one of the vinyls is already sold out. That's exciting.
Dude, it flew. There's not many left of the second variant either. It's
nice.
It really flew. It's awesome, man. I'm excited. It's pretty cool.
Well, cool, man. Well, pleasure talking to you, and I'll see you at Celebration.